Good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo First, Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi, Yerushalyim, HaKodesh. This is the third shir of the morning, usually given by Rabbi Reuven Levitt, who's taking care of some important business for the Yeshiva. I'm temporarily there for substituting for him. We're learning Nefesh HaChaim, the first shar, Perek Vav in the middle. The words beginning Amnon Lo Shahaisa Indian V'chira So Machmas Shikokas Hara Hayu Kulim B'Toicho. That the point about Adam's V'chira, his free will, how that was affected by the incorporation of the Ra, those detrimental elements that entered into him after the Chet of the Eitz Hadas, there was an effect upon Adam, but his effect on his Bechira, that's going to be explained forthwith. Who would like to begin reading?
I'll read.
Sure.
Kihu Haya Adam, because he was a man, Yashar, straight, Ligamrei, and complete?
Completely straight. It was completely straight.
Completely straight.
That the incorporation of the elements of Ra on the Eitz Hadas, we'll see, their effect was only minimal, if not at all, on his Bechira. They'll be affecting other aspects of his makeup and his decision-making process. But in terms of his Bechira, free will remained intact.
Because he was completely straight.
Yes.
Kalul Rak Mi Sidrei Kochos HaKodesh Levad, included only from the order of the holy powers alone.
Right. He was incorporated into Adam, but only those from the set of holy kochos forces, exclusive. But Adam was incorporated into Adam was exclusively only holy forces.
I thought we said earlier that the kochos Tsama were also incorporated in him as a result of the hate. Did you say that?
The Tachtonim, yes. We did say that. The elements of Tachtonim and Ayon.
That
the lower elements and the higher.
I think here, I think you're referring to Daf Ayin Aleph, one page back, the last paragraph on the page Hagor. Zahayat Kodem Achet. Can you read that?
Zahaya Kodem HaChet, this was before the hate. Lo Haya Klul was not incorporated. Az Rak Mikol HaOlamos V'Kochos Kedusha Levad. Before the hate was only the holy powers. Velo Kechochos Hara, and not the bad ones. Aval Achar HaChet, but after the hate, Nichlalu V'Nis Arvu Bo, they were incorporated in him. Gam Kochos Atuma V'Hara, also the powers of impurity and evil. Umi Mela, and automatically, Erev, they were mixed. Osam, them, Al Yidei Zeh, because of this, Gam, also Ha-Olamos, the worlds. Mizeh, from this, Ha-Tam, the reason, Shehu, that they, Klul, were included, Umashutaf Mi Kulam, and they became partners with all of them. Behaim meets Orim, and they were woken up.
Aroused.
They were aroused. Umishtanim kefi natiach, natis, ma'asav. Natias. Umishtani, I don't know what mishtanim is.
That they change, right? They're misforing, they're aroused and mishtanim and are vary according to the inclination of his behavior.
Okay.
Now
this is the subject of Eitz Hadas.
Now go past the line and look at Gimel. Same page, the Gimel. Mamala Orav Osam Ayidei Zagam Olamos. There's also intermixed, incorporated through this cat, in other words, into all the worlds.
Kevan, since She'adam, that the man Kalul included Mikol Ha'olamos, from all of the worlds, the kochos and powers, Elyonim, on high, Vahu Kimapa Shel Ha'elyonim. What's Mapa? Kimapa.
It's
Cover?
could be. Again, Kibbut Sha'adam Kolo, Mikolo, Olamos, Koikos, Yonim, since Adam is incorporated, has incorporated within him everything from the worlds and forces, the higher worlds and forces. Who Kimape Shel Yonim. It could be like he's like a it could be maybe he's like a map. He's like a map of the Yonim. He's like an image of the upper worlds, right?
Uve Chetav, and his sin,
and with his sin, Uve Chetoy, and with his sin,
She'arev, that was combined or mixed, Es Hara Bitocho, the wickedness within him. Mamela, automatically, Nit Arev, it became mixed. Koach, the power, Hara, of evil. Gam, also, Ha-olamos, Kulam. Bit olamos, also in the worlds, all of the worlds.
So it says, and with his chet, the evil became mixed within him. And Mamela and then Mamela automatically became the korach of evil intermixed with all the worlds. Right. So now we'll go back to where we started. What is it? What did we read over here? Right.
Amnam lo shahaya inyan bechi raso. And it's said that this is not the subject of free will. Oh, so it's okay, I see.
Lo shahaya inyan bechi is
Machmas shekocho hara. Because of the powers of evil, hayu kalulim b'socho, that were included in him. Ki hu haya adam, because he is a man shashar v'gamre, completely straight. Kalul included rock only, mi sidre kochos HaKodesha Levad, included as only from the order, Sidre, the arrangement of the powers of holiness alone. So we just said that it's all mixed in, but this is saying not in terms of free will.
Right, not in terms of free will. In terms of other aspects of his makeup and character, the Ra was now intermixed within him, incorporated within him. However, in the aspect of his free will, since Adam was created Yashar Legamre, right, it's only incorporated into that aspect of his, what we call his Bechira, his free will, only those holy forces alone.
Echol inyan, and every subject, hayu kulam, all of them, yesharim kidoshim, straight and holy, umezukachim, and pure, straight, holy, and pure. So all of the subjects, his inyanam,
right, recall inyanav, all his aspects, all aspects of him. They were all yesharim. They were direct, holy, and pure.
Tov Gamur, absolutely good,
absolute good.
Beli Shum Eruv, without even a tiny bit of mixing. Unetia Litzad Ha-Hefech Klal. And what's Netia again?
His inclination.
And without even a little bit of mixing, and his inclination was on the side of Hefech.
The opposite, right? Li shum eru unetia litzad hepek klal, and without any mixing and inclination to the other side at all. He's absolutely like the compass is always, his compass of free will is always pointed north, right? Always due north. Right? It's completely yashar, completely straight, without any inclination or interference, shum ir, interference or inclination to any other direction at all.
The chochos hara, and the powers of evil, hayu omdim, were standing litzad, to the side. The inyan bifnei atzmam, and the aspect of within himself, chutz mimenu, outside of himself. Phrase.
The kokos hara hayu omdim litzad, and the forces of evil are placed on the side. I mean, not within him; they're placed on the side. The Indian b'nei atzmam, and they are a completely independent aspect, chutz mimenu, which exists outside of himself.
So I'm still confused.
Yeah.
It seems to contradict what we just read here. I mean, if these evil forces became incorporated in him,
Right.
which is what this seems to say, then he has to be affected by it. This is saying he's not affected by it at all. It's like it's on the side,
Right.
and he is straight and pure, and he's unbiased.
Right.
But how can he be unbiased? I don't get this idea that it's on the side and yet it's also inside. It's also incorporated.
Okay.
That's confusing.
Okay, so let's try and approach it as follows. Before the chet, let's say when it was time to eat. It was time to eat. Adam got hungry. Said, Chava,
What's for supper?
bring something. What's for supper? She says, oh, I've got an apple for you.
That wasn't too much work.
An apple.
So he said, right?
Should have cooked his own food.
So when Adam sat down to eat, right, he was eating simply because of the fact that he needed to eat, right? There was no other interest, bias, inclination, other force directing his interest in eating.
Right.
After the Chet, right, he had other interests, other forces, other inclinations intermixed into himself that were influencing his decision to eat or not.
Right.
They were influencing his decision to eat or not, right? But he had the same ability to choose whether to eat or not as existed previously. Meaning, those other outside influences, which were suggesting different reasons of why he should eat, right, were now bearing heavily upon his process of decision. Nevertheless, his process of decision still remained intact as it was beforehand. He could always try and look at it logically, purely, and say, I'm doing it for this reason rather than for that reason. But it was more difficult. It was a much more difficult task.
The negative elements into the picture.
Right. Yep. It's similar to a judge. Let's say you have a judge. Has to judge a criminal case, right? Criminal case, and so he's judged many similar criminal cases in the course of his career. However, it happens to be that this particular case happens to the accused happens to be his cousin. So now they're all, well, let's say make it better. Let's say his brother-in-law.
Should the recluse himself
Excuse me?
is a term, legal term, recluse himself, that he should step away because he's no there.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he's obligated to, or he has the option. But you see that all of a sudden, the judge is the same judge. He hasn't lost any powers being his judge. He hasn't lost any of his mental, intellectual capabilities and his functioning as a judge itself. However, now the fact that he has a close relative being the accused, right? All of a sudden, his bias is going to weigh heavily upon his process of determination and decision. But his process of decision, that all the mechanics of his decision are going to remain intact and pure.
Right.
Yeah. If he's a qualified judge, he's a qualified judge.
He has to recuse himself.
Right.
So, I think we would have to say the same thing for Adam. Now that he has these kochos ra and tuma,
Right.
They will act like a filter. So they're in between him and whatever comes into him, whatever facts that come into him from the world. They go through the filter. And now what he gets is the distorted facts. So his process is to be perfect, but he's working with distorted facts, so he's going to come up with a conclusion based on what he's receiving.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
this is saying no.
I'm not sure. I think it's saying that his free will remains intact, right? Nevertheless, because the situation has changed, and rather that the kochos hara were originally independent, non-evasive forces upon his process of decision, his free will. That was before the Chet, but after the fact, now that they've become incorporated into himself, right? His bias now is going to bear heavily upon his free will, but his free will can still function properly. That's why you need Torah. You need Torah as a counterbalance, right? Without Torah, you're completely biased. You're completely, like we use the example of the Geiger counter. You've got your gram of uranium on your Geiger counter. Any data you're going to collect is going to be biased because of that uranium that's attached to your sensor, right? But if you put some lead around that uranium, you can compensate for the interference of the uranium, right? And if you know exactly how much lead you have to apply to actually, eliminate it, right? Then you can successfully use the Geiger counter again. So that's basically that's what the Torah does in some aspects.
Right.
We have our attitudes and our approaches to the world and what life is all about. And if we don't have Torah, kina taiva v'kavod, the pursuit of pleasure is going to draw people inevitably after the base, vulgar, animalistic desires, and they won't be able to use their free will properly. They'll be making all the same logical decisions everybody else is going to be making, but they'll be making them in favor of kina taiva v'kavod. They'll be chasing after pleasure. They'll be jealous over this, and they'll want honor because of that. They'll exercise all the mental facilities to achieve those things, right? And without Torah, then because I'll say you can take a person out of this world, but with Torah you can counterbalance the animalistic desires and these things which drive a person to achieve things in the world, right? But you'll temper them with Torah, and you guide yourself to achieve the proper things in the proper amount and at the proper time in the proper situation when it's appropriate.
So what does it mean when it says that they're on the side?
Right.
Hayu omdim litzad.
Right. In terms of the aspect of his bechira, they haven't. You can't say that they entered into his bechira. Right? You can't say that the whatever korpus hara that were incorporated into Adam at the time of his transgression of the Eitz Hadas, you can't say that they entered into his bechira.
So the uranium is there,
Right.
and what we're saying is that the information coming in is off, but he still has perfect bechira, as opposed to saying that the uranium is there and the information is off, and he also does not have perfect bechira. How would that be? How would he not have perfect bechira? His bechira would always be perfect, wouldn't it?
No, it could be, for example, a person has an addiction.
Right.
Their bechira is completely subjugated to the fulfillment of their addiction. That's why we have a mitzvah in the Torah, Sora ben Sora Mora. You see that even at the young age of 12, 13 years old, the parents understanding what the child's waywardness is to such an extent that it's inevitably going to lead that he's going to become a robber and then finally a murderer, right? So the Beis Din will have him killed by right of the Mises Beis Din, of the right of the Beis Din to kill him illegally, on the projection that he'll eventually be becoming a social threat.
So in his case, we would say that his bechira, the kokos hara are not on the side. They're actually in him.
Like the case of an addiction, addiction.
I'm talking about the Ben Sora Mora.
Yeah. It could be that he's been so habituated to wine and to these type of things that he's consumed by it.
So for most people, it is on the side. Yeah. Most people are like a dog. It's a dead.
Well, that depends. People without Torah, what's the difference between love and infatuation? According to the way the world defines these terms.
Infatuation is very what's the word? Surface level. I can't think of the word. What? Superficial. Thank you.
Superficial.
Yeah. Very superficial. Love is more deeply rooted, and love is more well thought out.
Thought out. You're exercising your bechira.
Right.
infatuation is, take a look, like, it's not really for you if you really, look at things, it's not really for you. None of the business getting involved with this stuff.
Right. Right.
What are you doing it for?
But if you see her and she's very beautiful, then that is going to be a bias. It's going to throw you off. So that is internal. Now you've internalized that bias, correct?
Yeah,
It's still external.
it's external because you can explain to yourself that the beauty is only superficial. It's really what is the beauty really benefiting you? And what is the catch-all about the beauty that's attracting you to it?
So you could still say it's on the side.
You can put it on the side. Again, you can bring it in as close as you want. You can, if you want to just simply fall prey to the superficiality of the world, if you can. And that's the whole idea of all these things. Anytime all these. You want to trap an animal, so you lay bait. What's the whole concept of bait? He goes to the bait, doesn't see the trap behind the bait.
Right.
So,
It's helpful.
all right. Let's continue on.
V'haya bal bechira, and he was someone who had free will. Likanes, to enter el kochos hara, and there entered to him the powers of evil.
Meaning to incorporate the kochos hara, pas v'shalom. He could use his bechira to incorporate the kochos hara as well. If that's what he chose. Right.
Okay. Kamo she'ha'adam, like that the man who bal bechira, he is a master of free will. Lekanes, he entered el toch ha'esh. He entered he can enter into the fire.
Right. He has free will, as we mentioned several times already. He has free will to go into fire. Right? A person has free will to jump off a cliff, right? Mm-hmm. You have this fellow Evel Knievel. How many jumped off cliffs, right? He drove off cliffs.
He drove on motorcycles on boats between cliffs.
Right. Yeah,
that was his bechira.
That was his bechira.
I think he finally died from one of those.
He's
I think one of the last.
Part of the last.
The last time he did it, he didn't make it.
It wasn't the first time.
No, not at all. He did it many times.
Yeah.
Many.
So you see, a person has bechira for these things.
L'chein.
But his name was Evil Knievel.
Yes.
So that's what. You see what happened?
You see,
There you go.
All right.
L'chein,
It's a
therefore.
Musar Haskell, right?
From secular Evil Knievel.
Yeah.
I better be careful. If I have my Kindle, we learn Musa Haskell from Evil Knievel. They never heard of me.
Yeah, it's going back a few years.
Yes.
L'chein, therefore, kish ratza, when he wants. I forget what this means.
So right. This Sitra Achir.
Sitra acher.
That's a reference to the Tzahara.
So when the Yetzirah wants
Cause
to
him
make
to
him
sin.
sin?
Right, exactly, perfect. When the Yetzirah, they wants to cause a person to sin.
Hutzrach ha-nachash, he sends the nachash,
Right.
lavo, to come, mi bechutz, from outside, lifatos, to the inside?
Lefatos, to entice it.
Oh, to entice.
He has to be
He sends
enticed.
the nachash from the outside to
He
entice.
has to be enticed. Right?
Lo kamo shehu ata. Not like that he comes,
Not like it is right
Now.
now.
not like it is now.
Not like that he is now. Right?
But the nachash didn't come to Adam. The nachash came to Chava.
Okay, true enough. But that,
In general, he has to come from the outside.
yeah, he's explaining, going back to the primordial aspects of Adam and the Eitzadas, that it was the attack of the Nachash which led to the sin.
Okay, so it was out external, came through Chava, but it was still that external
right.
source. Okay. Shehayetzer.
It wasn't a direct attack. It was a flank attack. It wasn't a direct attack.
Right. That the inclination ha-mifate es ha-adam. I don't know what mifate
Okay,
is.
so the Yetzer seduces, right, from the entices, the same word as liftos we had in the line previous.
Right.
Mafate is seduce, to entice. The Yetzer entices, seduces a person.
Hu b'toch adam atzmo.
Right, that's the situation now. Meaning now, the
Uh-huh.
person has he doesn't have, before, previous to the Chet, Nachash had to come the Bechutz. That's the symbolism. The symbolism of the Nachash is that the enticement was something there outside of Adam himself, right? By us, it's not that way. By us, the power of seduction that the HR has is something which is internal. It's our own internal desires that are influenced by the Yitzhahara, right? To make us sin.
So how does that relate to the previous paragraph when we said that these bad powers are on the side, outside of us?
Right. In terms of Bechira, it's absolute, right? Again, Adam before the sin and Adam after the sin, he still has to be enticed. Because they're in terms of his Bechira, he has to be influenced, right? But there's a difference between being influenced on the outside or the inside. It's like you go back to the judge, right? So you have the prosecuting attorney, right? And so the judge understands that this is the prosecuting attorney, right? But so when they take a break, a session from the court case, and now the judge is having lunch, and someone sits down next to him, right? And he starts telling him things about the accused. But he doesn't realize that this is somebody who's been paid to influence the judge's opinion about the accused, right? And you know you're dealing with the prosecuting attorney, right, or the defense attorney, right? So you know you have to judge their opinions and their statements based on who and what they are, right?
Right.
So that's like before the check. After the case, you have the secretary of the defense attorney sitting down and enjoying lunch with you, right? And she's telling you all these, wonderful things about the accused. It's a different situation.
It's the internal because you're not aware.
But you're more close to the source of the temptation. It's still outside, but it's not coming from Bechutz. It's not like what's the difference between a spy and a regular soldier? A regular soldier, you're on the battlefield, you recognize him to be your enemy.
Right.
Spy might be helping you. Might be your chauffeur, right? Might be your co-worker, right?
Right.
It might be your cabinet member. Right? You don't know, he's a spy. He's a plant started 30 years ago.
Right.
Caught unaware. It's still Bechutz.
Right. Still good. That's what's
There's a mushroom I know there's a mushroom which I didn't know in the Torah, where he's trying to say the same thing, where he relates it to death. So a very interesting thing that it points out the obvious that in Gan Eden there were no dustbins, there was no such thing as waste. Nothing was the concept, nothing, there's no such thing as atrophy. Adam is eternal. Everything's eternal. Well, he says first the fruit would rot after the fact. It starts to rot. Eventually, Adam, a person himself, it also comes to us. So what was on the outside, this rotting, it comes to being on the inside now. Once it was not so. Once it was, everything was. There was no waste. There was no rotting. There was no. Now it's part of everything. Something I can't even imagine that it's not there. It's hard to imagine that the Yerushalyim is eternal. Before it was obvious. You wouldn't imagine. Why would you imagine that something would rot?
Good. Go on. Umis dameh ha'adam shehu atzmo hu harotzeh v'nimshach la'asos ha'avon v'lo she'acher chutz mimenu mifatehu. So, misdameh, it's like that the man himself wants.
Well, actually, the point it appears to Adam, it appears, misdameh, it appears to the person, shu atzmuhu rotzeh.
He actually wants it.
Right, it appears to the person that this is what he actually wants.
And he becomes a partner to do the sin. He becomes a partner with the Yetzer Hara, I guess,
Right.
to do the sin. And not after what's outside for himself. Does he open to the sin? Yes.
Okay, so like this. Shemisdarmen la'odam shuhu atzmuhu haroitze nimshach la'asos ha'avon v'lo sha'acher chutz mimenu mepatehu. It appears to the person that he himself is the one who wants to do and is drawn to do the sin. And it's not as if someone else, a third party, is enticing him to do it. He doesn't feel the enticement. He says, "This is what I want. This is not. I'm not being seduced to do this by an outside force. I'm just convincing me to do this. I'm using my free will. I'm choosing this because it's obviously what I want."
Right. That's no longer litzad.
Right. Well, it only appears. It only appears, since it's so close to the person, it appears as if he's actually making the decision independently, using his free will unbiasedly, right, for what he feels is his own free will without any outside coercion, right? So that's why you have to have a Torah. The Torah has to come along and say, right, that this is the Ratzon of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu, this is the will of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu. So even though you may say to yourself, well, what's the difference if I eat something, a piece of meat that was ritually slaughtered or not? Tastes the same, right? Same piece of meat. What's the difference here, right? Well, the whole difference is, are you eating meat which was prepared according to the will of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu, or something was created, prepared not according to the will of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu? That's the whole difference. Because if we would leave it to your own devices, you'd say, well, I'll eat anything I want. Okay. turn the page. Yeah, very good. Ukeshechato, and when he sinned, so I imagine this is going to the point of the Eitz Hadas, when he sinned and ate from the Eitz Hadas. So what occurred now?
Shenimshach achar pitui
Sitra.
sitra acher. He joined together after the Yetzer Hara, or with the Yetzer Hara. What's pitui?
That's the seduction.
The seduction. He joined together with the seduction of the Yetzer Hara.
Is it joined or is it attracted?
Drawn after, Nimshach Achin, is drawn after the seduction, the enticements of the Yetzer Hara.
He's drawn after the enticements of the Yetzer Hara. Az then nis arvu hakochos hara b'tocho mamash. Then the evil forces joined together, I guess, within him, actually.
From then on, they were intermixed, these detrimental forces within him mamish.
From then on. So what's then on? After the chet. I just thought we just said after the chet they're not. Litzad. Isn't Litzad after the chet?
Omdim kochos hara hayo omdim litzad. Not sure if that's referring to. That might be referring to the absolute situation. I'm not sure if we seem to be going away from that in the new situation here. Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently not. In terms of Bechira, that paragraph that you just referred to is in reference to Bechira. This is in terms of his bias, right?
Right. But if you have a bias, how can you have Bechira?
So the Bechira will obviously be influenced by the Bechira, but the Bechira will, it remains that the Bechira can still exercise its meaning. You can't say that a person's caused to do things Baal Korva, without free will. Because if you take away free will, there's no room for punishment or reward. Right? If you say a person's forced to do things, he's doing all these things involuntarily, he's forced by the HR to do all these things, then there's no room for reward and punishment.
Right, so we have to say that he has Bechira, but yet we're also saying that he's biased.
Right, he is biased. It's true, he's biased.
And that bias takes away his Bechira.
It influences his Bechira, but it does not affect the actual functioning of Bechira. Right? So as a matter of fact, the person gets one of the explanations of the Chet Adam Rishon is as follows. The question is always asked: how is it possible that Adam Rishon can disobey the will of the HaKodesh Baruch? How is it possible? He understood more than any human being ever created the magnificence, the forcefulness, the absoluteness of the HaKodesh Baruch. Right? Adam Rishon had this without any shadows of a doubt. He understood everything. It was humanly possibly capability able to be understood. How could he go around and turn around hours after his own creation and disobey the will of the word that was created. Right? So one of the explanations is that the whole time that the Yetzer Hara and the influence on his Bechira would be b'chutz, it's much less of a challenge for him. And therefore there's much less reward. So therefore, have the Yetzer Hara come in, right? And be successful with a much more difficult test, right? And you'll achieve that much more.
Right. So he had the good intention.
Yeah, we have to understand it in a way. He had a good intention. There are many.
He wanted to be able to come closer to Hashem by having a bigger challenge.
That's right. You have a professional boxer, right? So he wants a stronger sparring partner. And the stronger the sparring partner, the better shape he's going to be in. But if the sparring partner is too strong for him, he'll get knocked out. He might get damaged. Now that'll be counterproductive.
Right. Okay, so I lost the point of what you were thinking about this. I understand what you're saying, but now, what was the point you were what was my question?
Let's run the...
You lost the point, but this is too heavy for me, so we lost you from the beginning. So
No.
please tell me the truth.
So you were saying, how could it be that he would...
Yeah,
because I was saying you don't have free will
right,
if you have a bias.
right,
You don't have free will
right.
because the information coming in is distorted. So even if your free will, even if your seichel is operating correctly, you're garbage in, garbage out. You have garbage coming in. You have a perfect process. What comes out is not going to be correct.
Good.
So you've lost your free will because you're going to come to the wrong conclusion because you have the bad input.
Good. Okay.
So now you're answering that by saying he had a reason for doing the sin.
Right.
Is that he had a scar that he wanted to become closer to God.
Right, because we said you can't allow the nullification of free will. Because if you nullify free will, then you have no need. There's no place for reward and punishment.
Right.
That's one of the things that the Meforshim explain by Achashverosh. Right, in the Sudas Achashverosh, right, he says, "Ein oinus." They were able to drink, right? Ein oinus, not against their will, right? Because he didn't want them to drink and get drunk and to do averas because he forced them to do it. Because had he forced them to do it, then they would have been held responsible. They were just Hashem would understand they were forced to do it. Okay, maybe they wouldn't be the greatest tzaddikim because they did bad things. But since they were forced to do it, right, it's a whole different picture than they were not forced to do it.
Right.
So therefore, ein oinus. The pasuk says ein oinus, without force. Right. He instructed his waitresses. Right. He instructed all the waitresses at his suda that don't force the Jews to drink. Right. Let them drink on their own.
Yain Kabalach, the Balach is going to be very abundant, but not with
No force. No
It
force.
was all kosher.
Yes, it will.
from the Caliph of the Beis HaMikdash. That's another interesting. They had silver and gold.
So we have to have free will. But nevertheless, we have a bias, so we can't have free will. So this is spirit.
So the bias again, in absolute terms, the free will remains intact. I mean, you have the absolute right to an ability to use your free will. However, since there's going to be a stronger bias, right? There's going to be a stronger bias, just like that judge. If he's supposed to recluse himself, right, it's not because he's lacking anything in his ability to be a proper judge.
Right.
And it's simply because there's a strong bias here that may very well affect the case.
Right.
Yeah? Right. So likewise, you have here a situation where the Yitzhar now has been incorporated within a person, so much so that it appears now that it's not a outside enticement, it's not a seduction which is taking place from the outside. Rather, it's the person, he's got this great idea. He's got this great idea. And it's his own idea. And it's a great idea. And the only problem is with it, it's not according to the will of HaKodesh Baruch Hu. But it's a great idea. Right? So he has to realize that in spite of how great an idea it is, he'll lend the ribbons. He'll lend money for ribbons. Right? It's a great idea. You can get wealthy. They'll even give good donations to all the charity causes and yeshivas. Right? They'll be very happy. They'll be doing well. He'll be doing well. Right?
Right.
And not only that, you look at finance. The whole financial global structure of finance is based on lending where rivers were
Right.
interested. Commerce would come to a halt if people weren't able to borrow on interest. So it's obviously a good thing, right?
Right.
Obviously a good thing. Just like lobster's obviously a good thing too. How many tons of lobster are consumed in the course of a year through the population of the human race? Must be a good thing, right? It's not banned by the FDA. Right? So
It's banned by the Rebbeinu Shalom.
excuse me?
It's banned by the Rebbeinu
That's
Shalom.
right. That's right. For the Jews. For the
That's
Jews.
a higher authority than the FDA.
That's right. For
You
the
don't have
Jews.
FDA here, do you?
They have a health ministry. There's a health
Oh.
ministry. Yeah,
You do?
surprisingly.
So which one do you follow? Well, which one the health industry? See, that's
Sure.
following the government. You have to follow the health industry.
Health
Remember this discussion we had coming?
Dina Machosadina.
So if you don't want...
Okay, we'll stop here and continue Mr. Shem
All right.
tomorrow.
Like
And,
the first invitation to come to the